On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, what would you do if you had to start over in 2026? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I am joined in studio by your financial coach, George Curbelo. How you doing, George?
Shawn, it is cold. I don't know. We got like some kind of cold front and it's winter and Jack Frost is late. I don't know what it is out there, but this. I didn't sign up for this, man.
I had to turn my heat on last night while I slept.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame on you. No,
Well,
so I don't break down on that end.
I'm a native Floridian, though. What's your excuse?
I'm just old. There's a lot of arthritis that run in my family. So yes, that's what. But yo, dude, it was like this is Florida cold. I get it. People are gonna be like, oh, it's not that cold.
The great Florida winter of January 2026.
Right. Lasts like 2 days. I get it, people. We'll be back in the 70s pretty much next week. But you're not used to it. Let's put it like that.
So, as you all are listening to this, if you listen on the day it comes out, I will have just come back from PodFest. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sure.
What did you learn?
I'm sure I've learned a ton of great stuff. All that we will incorporate into the show based on all the donations we get on Patreon.
Of course.
So PodFest, I know PodFest is going to be a great time. I'm really excited.
And you're speaking, right? There's
I am speaking. If you're listening to this, you missed it, but I am speaking. On Saturday afternoon, I got asked to go and speak on a panel with a couple of attorneys that I know pretty well.
Nice.
I've given them referrals. They've given me referrals. One of them is local here to Clearwater. Another lives out in California.
Sure.
They both do a lot of intellectual property stuff, which I don't do. So my portion of what I'm going to be talking about has more to do with the structure. So should you form an LLC for your podcast or a company or a business?
Sure.
And I have some documents, like I have a guest release that, do as I say, not as I do. But I have a guest release for the show and what other kinds of documents. They may come at it more from the intellectual property
sure.
and copywriting your business and whatnot. But that's what we're going to be talking about. So I do want to go on a little bit of a rant first.
Oh, please.
If I can.
If it's not podcast related, let's go.
So have you heard of these MCAs?
MCAs. No, is that an old rap group?
Run MCA. No, so an MCA is a merchant cash agreement.
Okay.
So there are companies out there that will give me money, and then what they do is they tie it to, if I have like credit card processing, debit card processing, they tie it to that, and they automatically deduct weekly to repay what they've loaned me.
Okay.
So the challenge is these things are designed to save businesses. The problem is
interesting.
Every single one that I've come across, and maybe it's because, they come to me when they're having trouble, but everyone I've come across has killed whatever business.
Ooh.
Because the problem is they're taking from the merchant services account. They're taking the money automatically, and if not enough money goes in there, it's still gonna come out, and now the business has choked its cash flow.
Right.
So.
Oof.
I am sure that there are companies out there that give these amounts of money, and the businesses are able to use the cash and generate more revenue and generate more clients and turn around. But every time I see it, it has crushed the business. And they also have personal guarantees. So not only does it crush the business, but then the owner has to pay back the debt.
Goodness.
So I guess my warning would be, if you're a business owner and you're listening to the show and you're considering an MCA, reach out to somebody first.
Why would you? I guess what's a good scenario that you would say this would work for that kind of company? Like, is there a certain scenario that it'd say like that works? That might be a good idea. Let's put it like that.
I guess if you have a stream of income that's about to come in, but that's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Or if it's really just a short-term thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this that's going to happen. But there's a risk there. Or if you borrow enough or borrow a small enough amount that the amount they take automatically every week is not going to crush your business, maybe. But, I would think talk to an attorney, talk to a financial coach, talk to a business coach, talk to a business broker, talk to somebody before you take out one. A lot of them are high interest.
Of course.
Some of them are no interest. but they take a chunk out of the merchant services account every week. So, and I keep saying one of my best settlements was a company that was taking $4,000 a week.
Wow.
That I was able to negotiate on a short-term basis to $4,000 a month.
Okay.
To keep the business afloat. But these things can be dangerous. These things. So if you're,
it feels like a cash. What are those places that you can like? Is there certain things like these places you borrow money, right? Borrow money on the internet. Borrow money on these. Like there's certain things you have to be careful of, and it's like this cash advancements. That's what I was thinking about because I'm old.
Right.
But I think that you got to be careful. It's good to believe in ourselves, but if you put certain things in place. Without knowing, like, are we going to make enough money? Are we going to have, it's banking on yourself, I guess. It's saying, hey, look, we can do this and we can spin up the business. But a lot of times, is it the right, it the right move? You're gambling. Again, it's gambling on certain things. And it's just, oof.
Yeah. And I might be biased because I only see it when it becomes an issue.
A problem, correct.
And so I'm sure there are examples of these MCAs that have helped people.
I'm going to TikTok and I'm going to see what the truth is about MCAs. And I'll let you know on our next episode.
I see a future episode coming up. But that's not what we wanted to talk to y'all about this week. That was just my rant.
Yeah, of course. No. It's a good one.
I've tried to negotiate a couple of these, and the reason I went on this rant, I have a client that's got 2 or 3 of them, and I'm trying to negotiate them. And the one company is saying, well, yeah, we'll take a $15,000 down payment with $1,000 a month. And I'm like, I just sent you the company's bank statements. They don't have $15,000 in the bank. I get it. You want a $15,000 down payment. They don't have it.
Right.
And so, anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Right. So we didn't necessarily plan this, but as we were talking about today's episode, one of the things that I remembered, I deep dove into funnels.
Okay.
Russell Brunson's well known for doing them, and again, this is not. I do subscribe to ClickFunnels. If you get the email notifying you that this week's episode is out, a lot of the stuff in the background there is part of my ClickFunnels account. So this is not a promotion of ClickFunnels, but as part of my membership in the ClickFunnels community, I got a book, and it said, you suddenly lose everything. What would you do from day 1 to day 30 to save yourself?
Yeah.
And so the topic that we came up with was, what would you do if you had to start over in 2026? So imagine you get dropped.
Ooh, I got you. Now I'm in there now.
This is not the Halloween episode.
I was trying to go for Wizard of Oz, Toto, but okay, fine. Let's keep it moving.
I wish I had a soundboard. I could have put like a teleporter sound
there
in
you
there.
Go. All right, there you go.
So imagine you're dropped into the middle of whatever city you live in.
Right.
But you suddenly have nothing.
I'm thinking Acapulco, but go ahead.
Okay. you don't have your job anymore.
Okay.
You don't have your company anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have your house anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You literally have
just a reset.
The clothes on your back.
Okay.
It's a reset.
No savings, no systems, no plan, nothing.
Now, we can also talk about maybe no debt.
No debt, correct.
Or maybe you've kept the debt. We can kind of talk about both of those scenarios.
Sure.
But you basically have to start over completely from scratch. What's the first thing that you do?
So after I panic and probably have a few beers and Mai Tais, all right, so, I mean, you got to start over, right? So it's, for me, again, I'm going to go on the financial coach kind of thing, and it's like, what's the foundation, right? We have to have a foundation when it comes to the money. So we got to make money. So figure out a way to make money. We got to get the cash flow. So some stability in regards to like the income coming in. So knowing that where how much are we going to make? What kind of job can we get? Let's assume I could get a job, or if I'm going to start a business. Now, again, if I'm going to start a business, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? So let's just assume I can right away get some kind of job that gets cash flow coming in. That's the first thing that I would. That's the first thing that I would do. Like if I talk about systems, right? Like if I need an account, I'm going to have one account, that I can store the money somewhere. And again, one way to track it, if it's going to be paper or something, but just a way to be able to have the money coming in. And for me, just not an overcomplicated 15 accounts to do these, just one account that I can store the money and have it there, and that's it.
Although I like the idea, I want to back up to something that you glossed over pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think you said you would cry.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's an important step.
It is.
I think it's an important step to recognize where you are, recognize what's going on, recognize what's going on around you, cope with it, deal with it, embrace it, feel it, because you don't want to be too panicked when you're trying to rebuild.
Yeah.
Right? So
I mean, you're going to freak out. There's going to be a lot of emotions that are going to play.
You're going to freak out.
Into this, like, whoa, okay, this just happened.
But let yourself freak out.
Yeah,
because what you don't want to do is bottle it up.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're under all this stress. And now you're trying to figure out, how am I going to make money? And you haven't dealt with the stress of what your situation is. You're going to overreact. You're not going to think clearly. And again, there's no like switch you can flip here. But I think the important thing is to kind of recognize where you are, acknowledge it, deal with it,
love it, and
then move on.
Okay, you seem like a good coach here, so I appreciate you taking the time to really. No, but it's a great comment, because I feel like sometimes we right away. I go with let's go and let's just try to solve a problem, right? But I think slow down to see where you are right now, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and be able to kind of like, okay, I've got my new reset. I'm ready to tackle the next steps when it comes to the reset. So totally love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then maybe a little drink or weed. Yeah, I got you there.
Something to take the edge off a little
exactly.
bit. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying don't skip over it.
Don't skip over it. Love it.
I do think you need to come up with a way to make some money.
Yeah.
So I would take an inventory of what skills you do have.
Yep.
One of the interesting things in BNI, in the networking group, one of the things that we talk about is the gains exchange, or the gains profile.
Yep.
The S in there stands for skills. And I think that's one of the hardest things for members to fill out in a bio is, what are my skills? And some of the skills that I have in there, I can play drums, I can podcast, I can public speak,
communication,
I can communicate, I can write, I can read, I can
chew gum and walk
at the same time. I can be a solo dad.
Yep.
So really,
you can be a mentor, you can be a coach, you can be, yep. It's the hardest part when you're trying to. I think a lot of people get into this like, bragging is bad. Right. And that's a form of like identifying my skills is a form of like, I got to brag about myself. Here are the things that I can do. Here is what I can do well as well. It's not that like, what are the things you can do? It's really identifying what are your skills that can really drive change, drive you to do something.
And I don't think it's bragging. I think it's taking inventory of. And I wouldn't even say, what am I good at? I would just say, what skills do I have? And, now, again, if I lost everything and I had to start over, and one of the skills I have is that I've been playing drums since I was 10. So I've been playing drums for 15 years now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So
he's a comedian as well on the weekends, people.
But that doesn't necessarily mean I have to start a business that deals with drums.
Correct.
It just means it's one of the skills in my inventory.
Yep.
If it's something I decide to monetize, then let me figure out how to monetize it.
Yep.
But we're not saying just because it's a skill, you have to figure out how to monetize it.
Well, let me give you another skill. Let's assume you can. Some of the tools that are still in your bag include a phone, right? You can still, use a phone. You can do social media. There's certain things that you can do from that standpoint as well that can also help you generate. So using technology is another thing that you can do. So I agree. Looking at your skill sets, really deep diving. You said let's go deep. Deep diving into like, I can cook. I can run. I can teach people how to, train or something, whatever it might be. I think being able to understand those skill sets, I agree. You got to have an assessment because that's probably going to be a nice source of where income can come from.
Yeah. And I think you need to avoid the get rich quick. So
Oof,
one of
very easy.
One of the things that bothered me as we were getting ready for the episode is, one of the points we're trying to say is you got to generate some cash. But I think there's a difference between generating cash quickly and a get rich quick.
Yeah.
So you make sure you generate the cash, but don't do it in a get rich quick, because that often backfires.
Yeah. And the other thing too is why are we trying to make money at this point? What's the purpose for the money that you're trying to do, right? Some of it, if we're going to do foundational, right, we need a buffer, right? So saving some money, putting some money aside for just in case in those 30 days. Are we investing some of that money for a new business or for a training into a new skill that we may need as part of the business growth as well?
Well, and I think, what's our budget? So
what's our budget, right?
What do I need to pay rent somewhere? What
Yep.
do I need?
Where do I need to live?
to buy groceries?
Yep.
Do I want to buy a car, or do I want to Uber everywhere?
Yep.
What
Or can I walk?
Or can I walk?
I agree.
If you're dropped in the middle of New York,
Yeah.
walking might be a good idea. If
I would agree, but you're not living in New York. But
No.
yes,
But if you're dropped in the middle of Palm Harbor, for
Yeah,
example,
love it.
walking may not be a good option.
I would agree.
So I think you do need to be aware of what's my budget and what do I need, and then figure out from there, how can I monetize? How much money do I need to make? Get generating fast cash. How much do I need?
No, and I love a good point too. Is again, you outcoach the coach. So this I want to give you credit here, but think about it. What's
Can't wait for you to outlawyer the lawyer.
yeah, that I don't think that's coming anytime soon, but we'll at least try.
Okay.
I'll see what chat can do for me. But I think you hit on kind of like what are the essentials needed we should be spending our right. If you're dropped in the middle of nowhere, you need shelter, right? You got to live somewhere. You got to be able to eat. So and utilities to be able to say if you're going to cook at home or something like that, what is it you need? So identifying those necessities right away as part of that cash flow is going to be important so that you can stabilize your environment around yourself, right? So I think a lot of I love the idea of just like, okay, I'm freaking out, right? And I need to be able to create an environment that at least provides me some stability so that I can actually go, okay, what's next?
Right.
Here's how I got to do it.
Okay, so now you've cried, you've stabilized yourself.
Yep. Got some money.
You've taken inventory of your skills.
Mm-hmm.
You've taken inventory of your budget.
Yep.
You've generated some cash.
Yeah, we're getting making money now.
Now what do you do?
So I'm gonna become kingpin of the cartels and stuff. No, wait. That's a movie I was watching yesterday. So for me, I think good question actually. Now I'm thinking like I don't want to rush into like investing or anything like that. It's really more of good question. I don't know. What are you thinking? You stumped me again. Wow, I'm off today. It must be the cold.
Maybe.
It must be the cold, man. But go ahead, tell me.
The brain reset. I think what I would start to do is build up a cushion. Start to build up a little bit of a savings.
So the emergency buffer. I
Right.
totally agree with you there. It doesn't have to be too big, but having something that's there in case you need to be able to, if you need some money a little down the road, let's again, that first 30 days, we need to make sure that there's a buffer in case expenses, which usually happen, come up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
so
unexpected expenses.
I would say then the other thing we want to keep in mind is not like, okay, we're starting to generate money. We don't have debt, right? Let's say we don't have debt. We're, all of these good things are happening and stuff. Let's not try to like, okay, do I get the most expensive thing? Do I get the most expensive car? Do I start spending beyond my means?
Yeah.
Like the thing that gets us into trouble right now is the lifestyle creep, right? So I'm like, oh, well, I need a home, but let me make sure it's the most expensive on the block. I need car. Do I need to get, do I need a car? Can I walk to work? Those kind of questions. Or can I just get a bike, to be able to get around? So I think that's for part of my reset is to kind of like, okay, new foundation of thinking. There's no need to make sure like, let's start borrowing right away.
Right.
Is there a need to borrow right away? I think we need to try to eliminate that as part of the reset as well.
And I agree with you. I would try to eliminate maybe the expenses that we don't need. So, is this something that I can develop out of my house versus getting an office? Or can I get what are the community where they have a whole bunch of businesses in the same sharing the receptionist, whatever.
Oh, those the common. I know what the common, but I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yes, the business common areas, whatever. But I got you.
Both of us,
Yeah.
right now.
Whoop.
But do I need to do that? Do I need to rent an office? Can I
Yeah.
work out of my house?
Can I work from my house? Right.
Can I work
Do
remote at Starbucks?
Yep.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, I mean, the cars to me are huge. I don't need a 2026 or 2027 model. If I can find a nice car from 2020, 2021, 2022 that is in good shape, that gets me around,
Good bones, yeah.
that's good enough.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
What do I need in order to make my business work? And then I think the rest of it, maybe I don't need a business line. Maybe I can do everything off my cell phone.
Right.
So those, I completely agree with the issue of watching and managing expenses. But let me throw this quirk at you.
Go for it.
What if you lose everything except your debt?
Ugh.
Then what?
Well, I mean, still, if the debt's still there, I would still, again, it's all about budgeting and prioritizing what it is. I'm still not going to change the what we just discussed in regards to priority, right? You still need shelters, you still need to eat, you still need to be able to get around, you still need utilities. Place to sleep is very important because you're not going to be able to work if you don't have a home to live in. So I think that's going to be very important. Prioritizing the debt. Can I is there enough income to cover the debt? That's making sure we have a zero-based budget. That's still going to be important. But what debts do we pay them off, little by little, paying the minimums just to keep things afloat until we build more income? That's one way to do it. Or do I have too much debt, right? Do I have to talk to a Shawn and say, hey, is there an opportunity to be able to, is bankruptcy a form of fixing the kind of issue that I'm in right now? But I think it's still part of the stability, right? Fit it into the budget, see what I can pay, and just make sure it's a zero-based budget to handle that situation.
Well, I think what's interesting about this topic is we set it up from the perspective of you're dropped in the middle of some city, you suddenly lose everything. Unfortunately, that is a real thing for people that have medical issues, people that get fired from their jobs,
lose their jobs,
people that get divorced.
Yep.
I mean, that is kind of a real thing. And so,
and to be honest with you, in all those situations, I am also crying at the beginning of those situations as well. So yeah, it's an emotional change in life. We kind of say reset, thinking like, like you're in Lost, but I agree. I think life has those situations where there is a reset that you may have to actually think about these things.
Well, and that's where bankruptcy potentially
could be
comes into
option.
play.
Yep.
So
one thing that I would say mistakes wise that I would say don't, avoid them as part of this, right? In those first 30 days, I would say try not to fix everything at once, right? We start also getting into that mode where it's like, okay, I've got to do this, and this, and then get overwhelmed in regards to how much we think we have to handle. I still think prioritizing what's going to be important to manage within that reset, and knowing that you're not going to be able to fix everything within 2 days.
Right.
It's important.
Right.
But
well,
we think we're everything we could do, but it's still takes time.
One of the interesting things about the book is that what would you do from day 1 to day 30? So the book even recognizes that it's going to take a little bit of time to rebuild, and a lot of the authors in the book, it's a fairly thick book, but a lot of the authors in the book, each chapter is only 10 pages, 15 pages, something like that, and a lot of them do go through from day 1 to 5. I'm going to do this from day 6 to 10, I'm going to do this. From day 11 to 15, I'm going to do this. And if I remember right, a couple of the authors in the book were even like, from day 1 to 6, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to take day 7 off.
Yeah.
And then from day 8 to 13, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to take day 14 off. And day 15 to day 20, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take day 21 off.
Makes sense.
And so they're all giving themselves that little bit of a mental break of,
You need it. If you first of all, we can't think that we can kind of work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and think like, again, that's the mentality of we're trying to fix everything at once. Right. So we're trying to do as much as we can, because we probably need to be rich in 30 days, right? We've got to be, building wealth and doing all these kind of things. And I would say that that's a mistake we can put on ourselves. That's just too high of expectation to put on ourselves.
Right.
I've seen it on TikTok though, which is like stories of like, if I had nothing, I can probably, with $1,000, I can make my first million in 30 days. And I'm like,
no,
cool if you can do it, but that puts a lot of pressure on what it is that you can do with that kind of money in that time.
And that's the get rich quick. I mean,
Yeah.
It's every once in a while I see a reel on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a woman, a fairly attractive woman that says, "I'm going to start an OnlyFans account and become a millionaire." And then
that's possible.
It switches, it flips the image. And it's like, January $13, February $46, March $85,
Right.
and it's I'm gonna start an OnlyFans page and get rich, and then they make no money.
Yep.
So I would go back to, again, avoiding the quick fixes. But I think once I got my feet under me, that's where I would probably take a look at, can I increase my income?
Correct.
Can I raise my rates? Can I rebuild my credit? Now that I've got
that's beyond
floor.
the 30 days. I'm assuming we're kind of now established ourselves, or are you thinking like, because I feel like that's beyond the 30.
Yeah.
Like you've established yourself, and now it's looking at, again, from a business, how do we grow the business?
Right.
Makes total sense. Okay.
So,
again, I don't want people to do everything all at once.
No.
That's, we talked the 30 days, but I totally agree. Part of growth is seeing where the business can go.
You mean
or personally where we can go.
Meaning you have nothing today, you start a business tomorrow, and then you invest on day 3?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
That's not going to happen.
Well, and you raise your rates on day 4.
Right, and then you raise your rates on day 4 because of all the investing you did on day
Exactly.
3 to match with all the debt you incurred on day 4 and 5.
I love it. We're realistic on this show, guys. So welcome to 2026.
So what else would you do?
I would say emotionally, let me tell you, if I'm in the first 30 days, I'm in this. Where's the motivation? I'm not going to wait for something to motivate me. I need to be able to, find the motivation, because now I have a plan. I have, I'm moving forward. I'm making money, and keeping me motivated to and focused on what it is that I need to do to continue that growth.
Right.
Whether it's personally, whether it's through the business, whatever it is. But finding that motivation, finding that why is going to be very important to be able to actually keep you motivated. But I'm not waiting for something to motivate me, right? I'm trying to find that within me to keep me going forward too.
That's interesting because I see a lot of business owners do presentations, and within their presentations, they always say, why I do what I do, why I get up in the morning, what gets my feet on the floor and my rear end out of bed. And it's funny that a lot of them say, here's my spouse, here are my kids, here's this, here's that.
Is that motivation? I don't know.
And I always say to them, I love my wife, I love my kids, I love my family. They're not why I do what I do.
Right.
And people are like, they're not. Oh my God.
You're a monster.
Yeah,
what is wrong with you?
But now, what I do for them.
Of course.
Partially.
They're part.
Some of it's for me too.
Yeah. It's they get to benefit from your success.
Right. But they're not my why.
Yeah, I agree. That I don't think that's strong enough. That's not a strong enough why to motivate me to get up every day. There's got to be something that ties to your inner core that's in you to really want to do that.
You want to know what my why is?
It better be good. Let me just tell you right now, because if not, I'm gonna push the button and it says wah wah. So I'm just gonna let you know right now. But go ahead.
Okay, so go back to Shawn in junior high and high school.
Sure.
Shawn.
So 15 years ago. Gotcha.
Right, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Shawn was straight A student.
Mm-hmm.
Afro.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Probably 100 pounds soaking wet.
Okay.
In the band.
Love it.
Yeah.
The drummer, I'm assuming.
There you
go. Okay.
But I never got bullied by the jocks.
Okay.
Where I got bullied was actually in the band room.
Ooh.
And if you can imagine it, they did it.
Okay.
They would put gum in my hair. They would tape me to, they would wrap my arms and hands and legs in tape. They would
Damn.
hit me, punch me, make fun of me,
Gotcha.
all that. So I was bullied growing up. Now, the irony there, my best friend, my best man, guy that I've known since I was 4, he was captain of the football team, captain of the wrestling team, first baseman on the baseball team.
Nice.
So I never got picked on by the jocks.
Gotcha.
That's why, because they knew if they picked on me, they'd have to answer
You got your friend.
to him.
Gotcha.
But when I was in the band room, I was on my own, and I got bullied incessantly. There was one guy in particular.
Come here. I'm going to give you a hug now. Come on.
Thanks. There was one guy in particular who was a year ahead of me, so he bullied me in junior high. We get to high school, he bullied me in high school. He graduated. Then I was there alone my senior year. Went great. I get to FSU. I go to the Marching Chiefs to audition. He's there.
Oh, my gosh. All
Now,
right.
I honestly believe that the only reason I got into the Marching Chiefs is because when he auditioned, he took his first year off. So we were both brand new to the band
Sure.
in the same year. Had he established himself, he probably would have tried to bully me out of the Chiefs, but there were enough people there that weren't going to let that happen.
Gotcha.
So my why is whenever I see a client of mine being bullied,
Oof.
I owe this money to the bank. I can't pay this money. I've got this person suing me. I've got this landlord evicting me. That's what drives me. When I get people to say, I feel better. I feel the weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I feel like I can sleep tonight. I'm getting rid of their financial bullies. I'm getting rid of their financial stress. That's why I do what I do. And some people say, well, you also represent creditors. And yes, I do. And I can even, I think, say that if you're a creditor and you're owed money, legitimately owed money, and the borrower isn't paying you,
That's different.
that's a form of financial bullying as
Absolutely.
well. You
Absolutely.
need that money for maintain the house or to pay your own bills or to do whatever you're going to do with it. That's a form of financial bullying too. And so a trick to the listeners, if you want to get me to if you want me to get you, if you want to get me to take on your case, good Lord, words. If you want to get me to take on your case,
I love it.
Frame it in a way that you're being bullied.
Yeah, being pushed, being harassed, being anything like that. I mean, so why does that story have such a compelling why? Because you got an emotional tug. I even was like, oh, hell yeah, whoever's this guy, yo, send me his name. I'm like, I got him. I got him. He's done.
I've told that story before, and a couple of people were like, tell me who that guy is. I'll go find him.
We'll get him on Facebook. Let's go.
Ironically, I don't think he's a listener, but
I hope you are a listener, though. Thank you, sir, for listening.
If you are, thank you.
I appreciate it. Patreon as well, if you want to.
There you go.
So
if you want to make up for all the
Yeah.
bullying, patreon.com/crushing debt. We're actually friendly now. I mean, I don't hang out with the guy a lot, but we communicate every once in a while. Facebook Messenger. Happy birthday on Facebook, and
That's
we're
cool.
friends. I mean, because he and I were at FSU for 4 years together, and there's
you know
that
each other,
sort
yeah.
of fraternity
Sure.
bond within the drumline.
Sure.
So the end result of the story is that we're friends, and I think why I do what I do, it's to protect that junior high school Shawn that was getting bullied.
That makes sense.
That's why I do what I do. So,
Love it.
So, I think the last thing that I would suggest,
Yes.
if you had to start over in 2026, in addition to everything we talked about, I would make sure you set up guardrails so you don't repeat what caused you to...
For the reset.
Right, what caused you to have to reset.
Yeah.
Set up guardrails so you don't repeat it.
Well, so start with knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? Learn from the mistakes that we've made in our past. What put us in that situation? What tools did we use or not use, right? What are some of the things that the lessons we didn't have? Let's put some of those things in place as well.
Right.
Here's a shot. Which people do you need to surround yourself with now?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's the people who put us in this situation. No offense, guys. I still think we do a lot of, in 2026, we compare and we go, wow, what he's got, what she's got, what they've got. Yeah. Again, for me, those are things you want to avoid. Like, Don't worry about comparisons. Don't worry about these kind of things. Don't worry about if those people are not, your champions, your cheerleaders, you probably need some new people around you as well. So yeah,
Well, and I was thinking too, well, Shawn, I just got divorced. How can I avoid getting divorced again? Well, I don't, I don't
wait,
know.
Hold on,
Yeah. I don't know, but
what's the reason, right?
But what I do know is maybe you get a prenup. And that way, if you when you remarry, and that way, if you do get a divorce, you've got the prenup that describes what's going to happen. Or, Shawn, I lost my job. What do I do to avoid that? Well, you start your own business.
You can start your own business or get a job. You know what? Have a 3-month, 6-month emergency fund in place,
Right.
so you don't have to. I lost my job, and now we panic. It's I lost my job. Okay, let's reflect because we have
6
months of
to
stuff
figure it out.
to figure it out. Exactly.
Or what about, Shawn, I got diagnosed with this medical issue. That's what insurance is for.
That's one.
Short-term disability, long-term disability, life insurance, AFLAC, all that
Protect
kind of, that's what all that insurance is for. So there are ways, regardless of what happened, I'm sure there are ways to set up guardrails that either lessen the impact if it happens again or prevents it from happening.
I would
again.
agree. Self-reflection. I would say the divorce one too. Even medical, right? Like self-reflection. What am I eating wrong? Am I talking right? Is my headspace right? Those are things you want to take a look at too to see if there's improvements that you can make as part of your reset. So I love it that we kind of focused on the money part and but I think a lot of it really was on individual, on yourself. How can I improve myself? How can I think differently? What new habits? What new habits can I put in place to be able to be a better person in this new reset that we're in? So
I think I
love it.
I think it's also a mindset thing. So I think we've reached the end of the episode. If you want to prevent us from losing everything, you can go to patreon.com/crushingdebt. And no, I'm kidding, but it does all go back into the show to help us produce the show. Again, the Pancreatic Cancer Walk is coming up the end of April. I'll be putting out more information about that, about the Purple Stride Walk. Anything else?
Can I just? I have a little saying here that I thought was a little. Don't redesign your life, just stabilize it.
Nice.
So I thought I was like, ooh, like little call to action that we can kind of end the show with, folks. But I was like, yeah, I think again we put this pressure, or we've got to I got to do all of these. We made a lot of suggestions. Don't get me wrong, but I think for me, it's not about becoming the new person. It's really more finding your stability so you can actually be the best self in your life.
Right. So the last thing that I wanted to say was this is episode 499. So where we are now is we're trying to plan episode 500. We may or may not take a week off to give ourselves a 2-week runway to get episode 500 put together.
I agree. It's very exciting. It's a big number. 500 is, dude. You've been here a while. Since
I've been here
15. 15 years you've started this thing. So I'm very proud, obviously, and we just want to make sure it's a great show for you. And obviously, suggestions for us, in the next 500. I think that's what it's what is next for your show, my friend. But
Absolutely.
This is awesome things.
So, if you think we missed anything in this week's episode, what would you do if you had to start over in 2026? Let us know. Definitely stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. If there is no episode next week, episode 500 will be the following week, or next week will be episode 500.
That's it.
We'll figure it out. So
that's the fun part.
With that, I will say that we hope you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money, and we will talk to you in next week's episode.